What is the Johannine comma, and why is it important? Hey everybody, I'm Dan McClellan. I'm a scholar of the Bible and religion, and if you look in the King James Version at 1 John 5, verses 7 and 8, you see this. For there are three that bear record in heaven, the Father, the Word, and the Holy Ghost, and these three are one. And there are three that bear witness in earth, the Spirit, and the water, and the blood, and these three agree in one. But if you look in most modern translations of 1 John, you don't see all of that. You see something closer to this. This is from the NRSV UE. There are three that testify, the Spirit and the water and the blood, and these three agree. So there's a big chunk or phrase that is not included in most modern translations of the New Testament, and that is known as the Johannine comma. And there the word comma is being used to mean phrase or clause. And the reason it's not in there is because we know it's not original to 1 John. It's not in any ancient Greek manuscripts. It first pops up in Latin books talking about the New Testament, and then later on gets introduced into Latin New Testament manuscripts. But we don't see it in any Greek New Testament manuscripts until the 14th century. And in that instance, it's actually a parallel Latin and Greek manuscript, and we know that the editor was rewriting the Greek to align with the Latin. Now, when Desiderius Erasmus prepared his first ever printed edition of the Greek New Testament in the early 16th century, what we would come to know as the Textus Receptus, in his first two editions he did not include the Johannine comma, which was an important proof text for the Trinity, and because of that, he got accused of trying to revive Arianism by his critics. But at the time, he didn't know of any Greek manuscript that actually included the Johannine comma. When preparing his third edition, someone showed up with a Greek manuscript that included the Johannine comma, and because of the pressures of the Trinitarians around him, he decided to include it in that third edition, which would become the source text for the King James Version, which was a revision of the Bishop's Bible, which came before it. Now, that manuscript that they turned up with is known as Codex Montfortianus, and scholars have done a lot of analysis on Codex Montfortianus, and they know what manuscript it was copied from, and they know that manuscript didn't have the Johannine comma. And the version of the Johannine comma that is in Codex Montfortianus, that was translated directly from Latin into Greek. So most scholars think that Codex Montfortianus was probably prepared precisely so that it could be handed over to Erasmus so that he would include it in the third edition of his Textus Receptus. And that is the only reason that it is in the King James Version, but we know that it was not original to the New Testament. It was a Trinitarian proof text that was added to the text later and became controversial, and today is omitted from the overwhelming majority of English translations of the Bible. And the fit for this video has been Lobo.